Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, no. Thanks for coming on, Tony. Really do appreciate it. As I was saying, you've had a positive impact on me and the lives of many others. With me going through Sport and Chance Clinic, and you've achieved a lot through football, and you Arsenal captain, England captain, and a hero for many people. But it was more to talk about your message of recovery. I thought I'd start off with that. I watched a video of yourself with More Than My Past.
Yeah, you can talk about this stuff. Fantastic, mate. This has boosted my ego already, Liam. This is great. England, Arsenal, captain, recover. Come on, keep talking, mate. I love it. Go on. My past.
Well, yeah. So in the video, I think it's about 5 minutes long, and it nicely summarises your sort of experience, doesn't it? From the madness of addiction to the rewards of recovery. But I thought I'd start off with something that really resonated with myself, and you spoke about how your alcoholism developed with an injury.
Well, injury is a significant moment, I would say off periods, every summer holiday, it was fueled with alcohol because I knew how to drink and how to get drunk, basically, and how to play football. And that's how I kind of defined myself in those days, and it didn't, as you well know, Liam, it never starts like that, the little schoolboy from Dagenham, that was frightened of everything. And, when I had my first lager shandy, I didn't think like 12 years later I'll be having blackouts in prison and in intensive care and the consequences of my illness. That never comes into play. But somewhere along those 12 years, it did develop into, whether I was on the football pitch or off the football pitch, getting drunk. And there's the two things that I was doing. So injuries when I wasn't playing football, for instance, and every holiday, every summer, I think I went from Torremolinos to Ibiza to Mallorca, with my mates every year. And it wasn't a, sit around the pool and have a couple of beers, and it was to oblivion, 24/7, that was it, get off my face for the whole week, 2 weeks, and that was, the same when I was injured. I couldn't, my first ever, I was 17 and I never tasted alcohol, and I was injured. I broke a bone in my fifth metatarsal. Not my first drunk, but my first drink. This was, and I wasn't comfortable in my own skin without football and without alcohol. So I sat there on that Saturday morning, not being able to play football, in plaster up to my knee, and I got on my crutches and I bolted down the local pub, and the story began. My love affair, as it were, with the the drug of choice, which was alcohol. And that was I instantly didn't like the taste. But I worked at it. That's a bonkers, if you don't like the taste of something, you just put it down, didn't you? But I loved the effect, and that's why I drank on it. I didn't realize at the time, all this was unconscious to me. But you don't realize. I didn't realize. I just, it made me feel great. It made king for a day. You've come across that statement in recovery. It just changed the way I felt attractive. I felt loved. I felt top of the world, a bit like when you've scored a goal for the Arsenal or lifted a trophy, boost makes you feel like you can do everything. But I just happened to cross the line about 11. I'll give you my whole story here in one question. I'll let you ask another one, Liam. Go on.
People talking about there was a drinking culture at Arsenal. And it's interesting, I'm in a WhatsApp group chat with a lot of mates, and funny enough, the other day, one of my mates said, tell you what, Ray Parlour's in good nick considering how much he drinks. And then I ended up watching a video of Ray Parlour sort of talking about yourself and how, for like maybe the first 2 years when you were in recovery, how maybe you never sort of like socialised with the squad as much. So how did you find that?
It was tricky. I remember my first. I was talking about it today. Actually, my first Christmas party back out. I got sober the 16th of August, 1996, and I was a certain character. I was masking a lot. I had a million and one masks that I put on. I had this macho kind of, my way or the highway kind of exterior, but underneath I was a shivering, fearful wreck. But I've got this new thing in my life. I'm working a program of recovery a day at a time. I've totally surrendered from my jumping off point where I didn't want to live anymore, but I didn't know how to kill myself. And I'd got through that moment of clarity, surrendered, but it's still the Christmas party. And I've gone back into my job and kind of gone, oh my God, they say in recovery, the worst thing is you get your thoughts and feelings back, and it's the best thing as well. But so I went, okay, 12 o'clock in the pub, just before Christmas. Come on, guys, let's do it. And I stood there in the pub. But I was I'd surrendered and I was totally safe. I knew that a day at a time I won't drink again. I know it, I can see it for what it is now. As long as I do the right stuff, as long as I keep putting myself into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, as long as I keep up my therapy, as long as I listen to the 12 steps and work the steps, and as long as I speak to my sponsor and this kind of stuff, I know that I'm kind of won't pick up. I'd maybe do something else, but alcohol's off the table. It's not going to get me there. But this occasion, I'm 3 weeks clean and 3 months clean and sober.
Yeah.
Step 1, step 2-ish in recovery, and I said, come on, 12 o'clock. And I matched them, cappuccino for the lager. I matched them. I was there, and I thought, come on, yeah, exactly, cappuccino. And I went one, and it was quite funny because a few things were kind of interesting. Because I'd come to, and I was conscious now, I noticed that most of them didn't drink to the levels that I drank. Yeah, some of them did drink heavily. Didn't have the 3-day, 4-day bender afterwards and stuff. Didn't kind of go and get home the next week. And a lot of them kind of, after a couple of hours, they went back to their homes and families. What's all that about, but I matched them, and they were doing it at 2-3 pints an hour, and I was doing 2-3 cappuccinos an hour. So by about 4 o'clock, I'd done about 12 cappuccinos, and the barmaid was banging the bell. She was banging the bell every time. Everyone was laughing with me for a change instead of at me, because that was a big change as well. Because I was the falling down drunk, the standing on the table, entertainment for everybody, and I wasn't prepared to be the source of entertainment anymore. But I had people laughing with me now, and again, ding, 10, 11, 12. And then we went to another place, and I kept drinking cappuccino. It was 2 a.m, and I've done 27 cappuccinos, and I was shaking. They said it's an all-time record. I did a bit of work with Lavazza. I love the people there that sponsor the Arsenal and Liverpool, actually, and they're really great people. And they said, I think we've never known someone to drink that level of consumption in a session. But I was shaking like a leaf, but I didn't drink. And I noticed a lot of the guys wasn't there. They'd all gone home. There was 1 or 2 still with me at 2-3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I realized that actually I was the one that had crossed the line. It wasn't their issues. It wasn't their problems. And if they did have a problem and did want to reach out, then I was here to show them the way. Yeah. I got another sober day. Okay, it took 27. I don't have to do that today. I can stand there and I can go home, which is a real secret. At 3 o'clock when a lot of the other guys went home, I can go, thanks, guys. Because they talked to utter rubbish. After a couple of beers, I thought I was talking absolute, pearls of wisdom, mate. But it's all, I don't want to swear, but it was all bollocks,
I've also seen another video of yourself talking about where your experiences when you were in Azerbaijan and you found like sort of distance from recovery. How did you find that?
It was difficult, but I was opened up. I'd changed. They talk. It's a bit airy fairy, mate. But I'm going back into the macho world you were talking about. But the flower opened up. It opened up, and I was open to adventures, and different things came into my life.
Yeah.
and oh, I could have experiences, and I'd played for Arsenal for 22 years, and pretty much I knew Highbury, I knew away grounds, but I'd seen hotels and training grounds, and I hadn't seen different cultures, different places on the globe, and I wanted some life experiences. Now I was sober, for years I was trapped in my addiction. I couldn't get past the first pub. So I used to talk all to these things. There's a beautiful passage in the big book about contempt prior to investigation leaves man into everlasting ignorance. And we can stand at the pub kind of going, yeah, oh, that's a great place, I saw it on the telly, I don't need to go anywhere. My dad used to say that. What do I need to go to Africa for? What I see it on the telly, but I've had an opportunity through football to actually explore new places, different cultures, and I've enjoyed every meeting. I've worked in 7 different countries in the last 10 years, China, Azerbaijan, Madrid, Spain, these kind of places. And they've all been fantastic, sober experience. And the great thing with AA in particular, it's around the globe. There's meetings around the globe. Some of the meetings in China, for instance, in Shanghai, it's a meditation meeting on a Monday in Shanghai. That's so spiritual. It's so wonderful, and I was so blessed to do that. In Azerbaijan, it was tough. There wasn't no meetings. The local meetings were either in Moscow or Istanbul. I used to have to get on a plane to do it. Yeah. I listened to a lot of podcasts. Sorry, it wasn't podcasts in those days when I sobered up. Tapes, speaker tapes. Yeah. A lot of speaker tapes on my journey. It's 3 hours from Baku to Gabala where I was working, and I used to just put a share on and just listen to recovery, and I had the other end of the phone line to speak to my therapist, or it was Skype in those days, and I'd Skyped in once a week and had a check-in and worked my program and did some remarkable adventures. I had some remarkable adventures, just by opening up and putting one through and the other. Made a lot of mistakes as well, as we do, but I've always got up from them and got on with it, and come back stronger. I think that's the thing in all my life. I've made many, many mistakes along the journey, but the important thing is we get back up, we learn from it, and we move on as a better version of ourselves, don't we?
A hero for many people, and when you're in recovery and if you're listening to the likes of tapes, etc., would you say over the years whether it's one or a few people who you've seen as like your heroes, have you looked up to, or is that mainly sort of in recovery?
My mum always used to say, show me your friends and I'll show you, which was very, very poignant. And we say in recovery, don't we, stick with the winners and win with the stickers. Yeah. I very quickly got a group of people around me, about 6 to 10 people that were in my life in early recovery that were a long time clean and sober. At that time, I thought, over 10 years was just, over 10 weeks. I thought, my God, how do they do it? They're 10 weeks clean without a drink. Oh my God. And these people were like 10 years and stuff. And I thought, my God, and they had so many sober experiences and clean experience, or without a bet experiences under their belt. They've had life situations, deaths, births, marriage, divorces, work, sacks, resignations, all types of life experiences, and been able to not pick up their drug of choice, and more than that, have peace in their life and full of contentment and comfortable in their own skin. And there were a range of people, from men, women, cross section of society, some lawyers, big people running major global companies, to musicians, to actors, to postmen, and I came in with a tube driver and a postman. So it was a range of people that were giving me pearls of wisdom, and they were all my winners. They were all my wisdom, and a lot of them are still in my life today. what I wanted to do, Liam, to be honest with you. I'm not a I quickly realized that I don't think that everyone that I was talking my experiences again, everyone I was speaking to in early recovery was drinking again.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what I'm selling all my stuff. And as Bill Wilson, you know, one of the founders of AA, he would try to save the world in the first 6 months of his recovery, and then they were all drinking again. But Lois, his wife, turned around to him and said, but Bill, you're clean and sober. So it's never stopped me from trying to help out my a pal when they reach out.
Yeah.
But I think there's ways of doing that. And me talking at them for 2 hours about how wonderful my life is today and how I've changed, it wasn't seem to sinking in. You know, it didn't seem to. I think I need to listen more, and I wasn't a particularly good listener in those days. And the art, I think, of being a good sponsor, a good therapist, I think they do need to step back and let the person find out for themselves, you know, what their answers are. You know, to become your own best therapist, your own best person that you can be. So. I quickly realized that. So, but I was still getting lots of phone calls from ex-players and stuff saying, Tone, you know, help. And I put James there. You know, you said that you went to see James, and I just put him in place because although he wasn't qualified in the modern era, in the therapy, psychologist, psychiatric, mental health arena that we're in today, he would never have got a license, you know, James. But he worked his miracles with me. You know, he was full of dignity and self-respect, and he listened. And every now and again he just came out with a word that resonated, and I went, oh, yeah, got it. And he's very existential, and that kind of worked for me as well. You know, this is all we've got right now. And he put, you know, it was just right for me. He passed on books at the appropriate time. People like Alan Watts and, you know, existential kind of therapists and people that are in the now. And The Power of Now is a fantastic book also. But along my journey, he's been there to do that. So pretty much at the beginning, I just went, look, I got a load of money from doing Addicted, which was my step 4 in paperback, basically. I got 250 grand after tax, is about 170 grand. I gave it to the Sporting Chance, which it was formed, and basically to pay James's wages for the first 5 years. That's what it was for. And I just put him into a hotel up in North London, Sopwell House. And people, I said, look, when they used to call me and say, Tone, help, I used to go, James, there you go, another one for you. So that was the story of how it was born. And you know, it's you know, 21 years old now, and it's I can't say it, it's grown, flourished. There you go. Got my word. It just flourished into an amazing, you know, I think the stats was over 1,000 sports people in 2019. So yeah, I'm very proud of it. I'm life president now. I've stepped a little bit back. I've cherry picked what I do for him now, which is a nice thing. And they've got some great people work for Sporting Chance, and it's still delivering. So I'm very proud of it.
When you mentioned Alan Watts there, I think when we spoke the other week, we were talking about sort of existentialism. It was just as I was going into Sporting Chance, that's when I really started to get into the likes of Alan Watson and like-minded people. But it was weird because I was full of shame at the time, and I felt like I was living this double life. These are the things I'm into, but my addiction's not matching up what I'm sort of into. And I've always got a strong memory of James. I was reading, it's called On the Taboo Against Knowing Who You Really Are. And because I was full of shame and fearful, James just popped his head over my shoulder and went, what are you reading there, boy? And I've showed it to him. He's like, oh, you're into Alan Watts? And I went, yeah. And he actually, while I was in there for me 4 weeks, which funny enough, 4 years ago today, I'd be about 3 weeks into my month in the clinic. And
congratulations, mate.
Yeah, and he actually bought me another one of Alan Watts' books, which I've still got down here. So yeah, it's led me on to many other things.
Yeah, 98, mate.
Yeah.
I was 18 months clean and sober, going to step 4. I did a step 4 with James. Well, step 5, I did my step 4 and 5. And when I shared it, step 5, with James, because I trust him so much, it was a real safe place. I didn't get the lift. I didn't get the, we talk about uncover, discover, uncover, discard. Discard is so important, that we let the stuff go. The truth sets you free. You're only sick as your secrets. We get an opportunity to all the trauma as a kid, all that stuff, get it up, get it out. But I noticed that I didn't get the relief, and I came to the conclusion it was because a lot of my stuff was done in the public domain. And I went, oh, wow, I'm going to have to do a step 4 and 5 in public. And that's and a series of God moments, coincidences, call it what you want, happened. I met a writer that, who's 10 years clean and sober, knows his illness better than I will ever know it. He said, if you ever do a book, I'd love to co-write it with you.
Yeah.
Then I met Andy Bell, who's a publisher at is the chief honcho at HarperCollins in those days, and he was an Arsenal fan, and he sat in our West Upper, and he said, Tony, if you ever did a book, love to publish it for you. So it was like coincidence after coincidence. I've got this sporting chance kind of idea coming up. How am I going to finance that? How am I going to pay for James's wages? And in those days, you can get really good money, like I say, for doing a book. So it just was perfect. They serialized it in the News of the World, which I wanted as well, because it had the biggest readership. So I got to the biggest audience in those days. And so it comes out Sunday morning, and it was always a good time. I used to wake up under a few in midday, so I thought that'd be a good idea. So I did basically a step 4 and 5 publicly with Addicted. It got very painful, and I know the World Cup in '98, I put it away for that because it brought up too much stuff, and I wasn't able to do my job as well as I could do when I was given. So I said to my James at the time, let's put it away for a while. Let's put the book with Ian Ridley, who wrote the book with me. Let's put it away, and we'll finish it after the World Cup. But step 1, I wanted my chair, and pretty much step 1 and chapter 1 is my chair. Is my chair. It's my share. It's my journey. It's my jumping. What happened to me before boozing, my moment of clarity, and then how I lived my life a day at a time. It was like my rock bottom, basically.
Yeah.
And we repeated that in sober that I did in 2018. The first chapter is just another chair. It's me. It's an updated one. It's a bit more recovery because I've got 20 odd years of recovery more in me. So that's why I did Addicted. I did it to clean house.
How long does it take a project like that to put everything to paper?
It took about a year and a bit. You don't have to do it like that. You can just give it to the writer, and he can knock it up in a couple of days. But we wanted to do it like anything that I wanted to do. I wanted to be me. It had to be my story. And after training every day pretty much for about a year, I'd put it all on tape with Ian. I'd meet him in Sopwell House, and about 2 hours was enough. It was quite intense stuff. So about 2 hours every week, we'd put transcript after transcript, and then we did one chapter at a time. So I did the first chapter, he wrote it up, got back to me, not sure, but went backwards and forwards. We had a week in January '98 where we went to the south of France together. I'd got injured against the famous Blackburn game where we lost at Highbury in December, and I went to get rehab in south of France. Ian came with me, so I did my physical stuff with a fitness coach, and then I'll do with Ian every afternoon, every night time over dinner, doing more of the book. So we got it all on tape. And then we just went chapter by chapter, 12 chapters.
Yeah.
We had the fixture list, which was quite handy because of the blackouts and stuff. I couldn't really place where I was at certain times. And there's one kind of, I went out for about 3 days to the Windsor races in the process. It was just before the 89. When we won the league at Anfield in '89, and I was confused by the dates, and I said, "Ian, I went here," and he went, "No, you didn't. You played Wimbledon that night." I went, "Oh Jesus!" I got to pace it, played, but thankfully we had the fixture list, which we can actually put our what we did to that. So that was useful.
You mentioned the races there when we last spoke. I know you mentioned you had a trip up here to Aintree races once.
Yeah, and that was I was injured again, and I couldn't go, and we just, it's just madness, isn't it? At the end of the time, it sounds so much fun, but it kind of wasn't. We had champagne breakfast out of Euston up to Liverpool Lime Street Station. You get on the bus to go across. By the time the race day happens, you're absolutely smashed out of your head, and we were in the Kinney's tent in the first fence. And I actually watched the race on TV, and I didn't see the race. I couldn't walk 50 yards out of the Guinness tent to look at the horses jumping over the first hurdle at Aintree. I stayed in there. I could have been in a pub anywhere. You could be absolutely in a pub anywhere. I just happened to be in the Guinness tent on the first fence, and literally the doors were behind me here, and I'm looking at a TV in front of me. Oh, there's a horse over there. Oh. Yeah, I don't think I knew how to behave, to be honest with you. I didn't know just how to be, It was just, I'm going to use that word again, but it was just bollocks, And you don't get me wrong, there was a lot of fun in there as well at the start. The first, listen, the champagne breakfast on the train going up there, that was fantastic. I loved it. It was great. But the 3 days afterwards and stuff, and I put myself at so much risk, and I know stories, thankfully for me, the story ended well. I'm clean and sober, and I'm here to tell the tale. But I know a lot of pubs have not made it. Accidents have happened. They put yourself into such vulnerable, risky positions that sometimes the results are not.
Yeah.
Not here. There's shit happens, and it's a serious subject. But the drunk and I was, like I say, hilarious at times. Hilarious. Yeah. And there was a reason why we did it, why we gambled. There was a reason why we did it. The fun, I suppose. I always laugh at that when the fun stops. I don't think it was ever fun, to be honest. But maybe the first bet. The first. I just had mine's gone to my tummy, and I just had it's a Bishkoff cheesecake. It's local. Oh my God. The first bite, mate, does it every time. I wanted it just to stay in my lips, just to be there all day, just to get the fix all day, you know what I mean? But I swallowed, and it kind of went, and and I felt less than. And I thought, oh, I've used. So what do you get back? Do you eat more? Do I have another cheesecake and another cheesecake? And I've got the disease of more, whether it's gambling or food or alcohol, like I used to throw down. So that's where I am. And I know, and thank Lord I've shined a light on that today. So I know that stuff. And like you said about the gambling of the horses, my brain would quickly go, oh, I ain't done that one. That's not my issue.
About food there, it's after Sport and Chance 4 years ago, I did watch my addiction manifest into food, and I developed bulimia. And I even had my relationship with food now is a lot better, and that's only through going to meetings and sharing and trying to work on myself. But it was actually yesterday, I've been experimenting, with this cold water therapy, And at first I thought it was a little bit of a fad, and then I got involved and I thought, you know what, great, you know, there's a community aspect of it. And one of the lads, he actually used to play football as well. He gave me like an Easter egg cheesecake that his missus made, and it was like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I thought I normally don't have me breakfast till late. And I was just looking at it in the car, and it's only a 10-minute journey home, and I've had one bite, and I've just went, oh, had that for breakfast, and then the guilt that come over me. But at least I can recognise and just go, right, you know, banana now for the rest of the day.
You've had a relapse, mate. The important thing here is you're right. You know, you've recognised it. You're conscious of it. And I loved what you said earlier about my relationship with this today is much more healthier. You've realised, and that's what I look for today. How is my relationship with everything? You know, with my health, with my work, with my relationships, and with my finance, all these kind of issues, big things in life. You know, what is my relation? Is it? And I love the word balance as well. Equilibrium. You know, is it in balance? Is it? Am I doing an Easter egg at 8 o'clock in the morning? Hold on a minute. And the thing is, we can laugh at it now. Hallelujah. You know what I mean? We can laugh at that stuff because we regularly, hold on, there's a bit of madness, you know. And I've been, my family's doing no sugar since Jan, you know, the start of the year. They've done no sugar, and it's killing me.
Cut out for that.
You know, I know I've relapsed every Friday, and I go down I have a meeting down in Marlborough, and they do sliders, the old American cheeseburgers and stuff. I had 4 of them and an Oreo milkshake cookie, and I stuck a little. I feel so. It's great that you can do, but I feel so guilty, like you say, you know. But I left all the evidence in the car the other day, and my wife and my 2 girls, they were like going, "Dad, what's all this? What's going on here?" I said, "Oh no." But that's a Friday night out for me. That's as bad as it gets for me today. You know, a couple of sliders, an Oreo milkshake, and an AA meeting, and I'm home at 9 p.m. You know, not gone for the whole weekend. I'm home. I go out at 5. I get that, and I'm home by 9 p.m. What's going on?
Oreo is my go-to. For years, I've seen myself as a bit of a milkshake connoisseur. I try different places and go, no, 6 out of 10, that one. That's a bit better.
Byron's ain't bad.
But yeah, I've tried them. It went in the big metal jar. Also, when you say being in balance in our relationship with stuff, like I'd say this is probably my big one at the moment because I use it a lot for work, and I don't know whether if you wanted to talk about Tony, because we spoke about it a few weeks back, but I don't know whether it's a hush hush at the moment about plans for what you've got in the pipeline.
No. I'm in the public domain now. No, my story has led me into feeling a little handcuffed last summer. With Sporting Chance, we're talking about now, and you know, it's specifically for sports people. And I, like I said to you earlier, I opened it up 21 years ago for sports people because I was getting a lot of people in the sports industry going, Tone, what's going on? I'm in a bit of pain, like you said. I fast forward that to last summer, we went into lockdown, and I'm getting a lot of phone calls from the wider audience, the business community, you know, the CEOs, you know, all sorts of people, family, friends, all going, don't help, you know, and I can't use my staff. And I felt a little bit handcuffed by that. I can't use Sporting Chance. I can't direct them this. I know, actually, we can't, you know, we can't fund this. We can't do this. It's not our thing. So I opened 6 mental health solutions. And started off with the business community because I thought they could take, like the football does for their players, like the PFA, they take full responsibility for their mental health and including addictions. I thought the business community, some big businesses, you know, and big profits, you know, they could look after their employees, you know, pay for the services instead of depending on the GPs and the national health, you know, putting their employees through, you know, EAP systems where they're not too sure, if they get 6 CBT sessions, or what do they get,
Yeah.
or their BUPA policy, or their AXA policy, or Vitality. What rehab do they go into? What do they do? So I've just kind of replicated Sporting Chances services for the business community. That's what I've done. I've widened it up. And that's what I'm doing. And the big, you said as well, social media, and I think everybody's got, what is your relationship with your phone? You stuck it up in the air there, Liam, and I'm doing no phone weekends now, which is really tough, and for this addict who quite easily can, the pickups, during the day, it's quite scary. And I think I'm one of the good one. I kind of put my head down. My wife said something about Meghan and Harry's interview, and I literally didn't know they'd done it. I think I'm one of the only people in the bloody planet that didn't realize that they'd done an interview with Oprah Winfrey. And she said something about, over the dinner table, said, blah, blah, blah. I went, oh, so what's happened? And she said, what kind of planet? Where are you? Because I know it affects me. I'm like a sponge, and if I surround myself with negativity, I'm not saying it's negative, but I'm just, if I get in all this stuff, it's like, oh my God. And I focus on what I do, which is, I know now, and really unhealthy. One bad word, one bad review. When I did the book, and thousands and thousands of people that I've helped, get clean and sober and having fantastic life. I've got the one woman that's reached out to me and gone, my son didn't get it. You're rubbish. You're a disgrace. I'm like, I'm in turmoil for about 3 months, resentment. I can resent her grandkids, I'm that far gone with this stuff. I want to instantly kill people. I want to react, but thankfully I respond today instead of reacting. And through therapy, through prayer and meditation, I respond, and I reflect, and I get some perspective about the situation, and it's able to mean it. But I think we've all got to look at it. To be completely honest with you, all addicts that get into everybody, everyone. It's a new kiddie on the block. It's the algorithms. It's just playing into all that kind of addictive behaviour. And you don't have to, and especially young girls, around suicide and young, and this is quite a difficult subject, so you might want to put warnings out. And if you are experiencing any of the things that we've spoken about, Liam, there's a Samaritans, there's lots of people you can get help, 6MHS, we'll signpost you to the right place if you've got all this stuff. But it's going through the roof. Domestic abuse. Domestic abuse, suicide in young girls, body issues, all the kind of messaging out there. It's huge, Liam. It's huge. So we're doing our little bit. We're keeping our side of the street clean. I've started with big businesses because I thought they've got the finance to actually look after their employees. But listen, I'm not trying to save the world here. It just feels like the right next step for me, Liam, to be honest with you. It feels like the right next step for me to go and help a few more people.
Yeah, no, it's because I use my phone a lot for work. I'll find myself going on it, but all of the apps. Yesterday, I normally just like reading a book because it takes me away from my phone. But there's one specific one that is quite long, and I thought, I'll try the Audible version. And I found myself last night thinking I've been on my phone all day, non-stop, and then I won't even declare my screen time because I'm embarrassed by it. But then that is a combination of me messing around on social media and doing work and other bits and bobs. But yeah, it's I think that's why.
I think we have to put some structure around it.
Yeah.
Me as an addict, it does make me feel dirty. Weirdly, it really does. I was sick of looking at a screen yesterday. So I've put some boundaries around. Work stuff, like a 9 to 5 day, and say, look, if I'm on the phone, it's from this. Like I said, I'm starting to have weekends away from my phone. But my music is on my phone. So I'm still picking it up and putting the music on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
But that's only, I tell you, and then I look at my messages on a Sunday night, ready for the week. So I do allow myself 2 times. But the instant, if I fall off the wagon, as it were, and look at it again, I feel instantly guilty. Shame kicks in. We're full of, it's really, I don't think a lot of people are like, I talk to my missus who's emotionally and mentally well balanced. She's, what's wrong with you? It's a lot of fun. Go. Yeah. For me, I know my weaknesses. It's not weaknesses. I know my illness. I know this illness is with me, and I have to be mindful of everything. And to put in some structure around my phone in respect of the apps as well. If it's social media, I allow my periods during the day, for instance, LinkedIn, it's a work kind of platform for me. So I only use that between 9 and 5. That's the only thing. The Instagram, I've set that up so people can it's a picture album, really. I've set that up so people can get help. So it's appropriate that I only do that from 9 till 5, really, as well, and I'm not looking at it at 11 o'clock at night and putting pictures in, or doing it. It's like an external stuff. So I don't get involved in comments or feedback and that type of stuff, getting conversation, unless they're reaching out,
Well, I was watching Joe Rogan and Elon Musk talk the other night on a Joe Rogan podcast, and they were talking in detail about, like artificial intelligence and what the future holds for us, etc. Joe Rogan said, that there seems to be this longing for us to be attached to walks, and I've found myself going on mountain walks a lot more, and these log cabin weekends away, and it's true. I feel as though you can just become so burnt out with technology. It's like, I just need some fresh air for a moment.
Yeah, it's we found like we've gone back to nature a little bit, and we say give time, don't we? And before we stop, we have to slow down. And I think in the last year, people have had an opportunity to reflect. I know it's been tough for a lot of people, but myself, I've kind of had a long period. I do it anyway on a daily basis, so it's right up our streets. It's meditation and prayer and reflection, and and slowing down and walking and back to nature. My pal, who unfortunately passed away about 3 months ago, clean and sober, had a heart attack. Paul, and his funeral's at 12 o'clock today. And he said something really beautiful once. We came out of a meeting, and we was talking about step 2 and higher powers and what does that mean for you, and what's all that about? Is it the universe? Is it that? Is it, I don't know, a group of drunks? Good orderly direction. As they say, good gift of desperation. What is God for you today? And we were talking, and it was a really clear, peaceful night, and we came out of the meeting, and we've got a church in Cirencester, and we both looked up past the church into the sky, and there was so many stars, and you could see, all the other galaxies, and all that. Was such a beautiful evening, and we looked up at the stars, and we both looked at each other, and he said to me, Tone, someone's holding that lot up, and it's not me or you, mate. Yeah. So I'm not the center of the universe, I suppose. We try to get out we get out of that, and maybe, I've been right sized, no better, no worse than any other human being. And I accept that there's a power greater than me today. And that's what it's about. And nature is a very, very powerful force for me. The peace that it's always been walking with my dog, even over Putney Heath in early recovery, is one of the greatest tools that I've ever possessed in recovery. Really, just the simply of just getting out, clears my head, and picking up the phone, talking to my sponsor when the pain, and you spoke about pain earlier, it's the touchstone of growth, mate. It really is. And I couldn't take the slightest bit of pain when I was using. And now the pain that I've gone through in the last 25 years has been enormous, but some of it's killed me. And I've got tools to deal with it. And one of the tools is nature, getting out there. I've got a lovely little pond. I've got a couple of ducks. I've got 3 goats. He's got the farmer's got some sheep in the field, got a couple of chickens and a dog, and 9 fish. There you go. But I think the ducks might have had them.
Mikel Arteta, how do you think Arsenal are getting on at the moment?
I think he's doing a great job. If you're just talking about Arsenal, I think Arteta, with the players that he's got, I think he's performing miracles, to be honest with you. But we need to, Arsenal need to, I think, really improve their recruitment for the next 3-4 windows. I think they need a better player, a higher level of player. If they're ever going to win the league again, they need to either produce them from their academy. They've got a couple of kids coming through. Fair play to them. Smith Rowe in particular is going to be a player.
Yeah.
Or you buy them in, which we did in '96 when we got a new director into the club who invested heavily. We got French internationals, Dennis Bergkamp, players start to play for us, and we went on to win 2 doubles and become invincible. So if to get back to those levels, going to need academy players, and it's going to need recruitment. And at the moment, recruitment's not been great, in my opinion. And but Arteta needs to get hold of his sports director and say, "Come on, we need some better players if we're ever going to win the league, because there's only so much the coach can do. This game's about players."
Yeah, yourself personally, you've won more league titles than our City combined over the last 30 years, haven't you? But, I remember as a kid, that's when I started to really fall in love with football. I must have been about 6 or 7, and watching Arsenal, Harvey, in your prime. And what was funny, I watched a video the other day. Do you know the 2001 FA Cup final, Cardiff?
Okay, I forgot about that one. Yeah. I remember 2002. God, carry on, mate. Carry on, Reed. It's about 20 goals. I can't believe we lost that one.
I know. I always remember. I think Sammy Ipie and Stefan Oncho cleared the ball off the line about 3 or 4 times. But when I watched it back as a little kid, around that age, Michael Owen was a little bit of a childhood hero, not so more now. But
pest he was. little pest.
Patrick Berger put the ball over the top, and when Owen scores the winner, I've seen you slide in, and it's weird because like I had like a different opinion on the goal. I was like, Tony last ditch tackle there. If only you would have made it.
Don't worry, we went back and done the double the year after, mate. I always remember Arsene Wenger put through his runners-up medal in the bin at Cardiff.
Did he?
And I always remember, I got it out of him. I said, "Look, win or lose, mate. We got here, pride, dignity, all the stuff we learned in recovery." I said, "Look, we did our best, Arsene. Let's come back next year." And funny enough, I'm not just saying it, we did go back next year and we did win it the next time. And that's when I retired, and it was meant to be. It was meant to be that we didn't win the Liverpool one, because I might have thought at that stage, actually, that's enough. I'll call it a day then. But I'm glad that we lost. There we go. Who'd ever saw that? Who'd said that, years ago, that you're actually glad? And then you're glad, it really hurt losing the UEFA Cup as well, and that just inspired me to go on and win another double, and get up again and fight on and knowing when to retire. There's so many footballers nowadays, Liam, that are stuck, and so many people that are stuck in jobs when they're too scared or too frightened to let go. Too full of fear, and and most people are just doing a job to earn a living. To actually have an opportunity to do a job that you love, that absolutely it's the reason why I'm on this call now. Everything that I do in my life is because at 6 years old I fell in love with the game of football, and I had a bit of talent, and I played for the Arsenal in England, and everything on the back of that is because of that. It's so powerful in my life. I still have football dreams today. That I'll never let go of that. There's a grieving process, 19 years without playing, and I still think that I can do it. I don't have no drinking dreams. I've had 25 years of sobriety, but I don't have no, I can well, and it's gone and forgotten, and then, good riddance, but football, ouch. I still want to get out there and kick a few balls, mate.
Do you have, obviously you achieved so much, but do you ever have any don't like using the word, but regret where you think if only I could have maybe won? No, not at all.
No, like I said to you before, even in the losses, it makes you who you are, doesn't it? It makes you more resilient and I've been, not in a statistical, is that the word? No, a kind of painful way. It's not in a kind of self kind of hatred kind of don't like myself. I want pain. I want pain.
Yeah.
Kind of way. It's actually, I needed every single bit of that to make me who I am today. So I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change. Now I've come through it. My alcoholism, my addiction. It was all great now that I've come through it. I don't want it anymore. But I'd rather have been captain than Alan Shearer in '98 because I think we could have done better. I could have won in 2001. I could have won. As my mum used to say, ifs and ands, pots and pans. And I don't regret one little bit, mate. Don't regret one little bit.
Oh, well, ironically, Arsenal v Liverpool is the next Premier League fixture, isn't it? So I thought we'll finish with a little score prediction from yourself, Tony, see if it pops up.
That's a real trick. They're both rubbish at the moment, aren't they?
They're both nil.
Well, Arsenal don't keep clean sheets, so it's a 1-1. 1-1. There you go. Score prediction.